game one of Toronto Montreal and the scary incident involving John Tavares, Corey Perry. It is probably, look, I remember as I first broke into this business, I was in the press box the night Marian Hossa, his stick accidentally clipped Brian Berard in the eye. And uh, I gotta tell you, it's frightening. It's scary. It's like you worry about somebody's safety. But when I saw what I saw on Thursday and was watching it live, I actually had to change. I actually stopped watching the game for about half an hour. I was like, I'm actually quite bothered. I just felt really bothered by it. And I think the fact that there were no fans even made it more eerie, like that you couldn't hear anything.
Yeah.
And it was honestly, it was so tough to see. And then to turn around on Friday morning and see multiple news outlets put in Montreal, the French tabloid had a picture of Corey Perry's knee hitting John Tavares in the head the moment of impact. And in the Toronto Sun, it was a picture of a completely dazed and concussed John Tavares, bloodied face. And that was the picture on the front page. And Kyle Dubas felt the need on Saturday to address the media and say, we don't agree with your decision. It was the wrong decision. And I think what bothers me, Hailey, and I don't know if this is how you feel, but when we work in the media, those are exactly the types of stories, okay, that give the media a bad name. If you want to think that the media is this predatory, like we're these predators and we love if it bleeds, it leads, and we like clickbait and we like sensationalism, that's exactly what that is. And I think if we don't stand up as a group and say that's disgusting and it's wrong, then it's going to continue. So I didn't like it. I think it was wrong to do it. I think it was in poor taste. I understand that there's journalistic value to the photo. I understand that, but it's not headline worthy to me. I think it's wrong.
It was very wrong. And I think the pun that they used as well, like it wasn't just the picture, but it was in Captain Crunched as your headline. And that picture was also the moment that was the most scary, that I think gave people the most pause. And I think there is, and not to walk through the whole thing, because I do know it was a very traumatizing moment for a lot of people. It made me feel physically ill. I was working on a piece. I had my TV muted, so I didn't hear what happened. I was working, and then I looked up, and then I looked up right at the moment of it happening, and right at the moment of Tavares kind of fighting the trainer, trying to get up on his own. The trainer was trying to stabilize his neck, and then he fell back. And that was the moment where you just knew he was in really, really bad shape. And that was the scariest part. And that was what they blew up on the front page. And it's just so beyond inappropriate. There's so many people that I worked at a newspaper when I was in university as a summer intern. Things don't just go to press. There's a vetting process. People look at that and check off on it. Like if a comma is in the wrong spot, they'll have to redo the whole front page, things like that. I don't like the fact that went through however many people and got to someone's front doorstep is terrible. I think there's just a complete lack of compassion and sympathy and understanding that that's a human being. And one of the hardest parts about seeing that was knowing there's no fans in the stands. So naturally, Tavares' entire family, who wants to support John Tavares, was probably watching that game and saw that on live television and saw it on the replay. And the John Tavares Foundation posted a clip pre-game, obviously before it all happened, of his two kids wearing jerseys and sitting at home getting ready to watch daddy play hockey. Like his wife at home with their two young kids had to watch that. And then that's what people are talking about after Captain Crunched. It's beyond disrespectful in my opinion. And I think it's, like you said, it's those moments where, there's people in the media who care and treat people like human beings. And obviously you're one of them, Ian. And I think it's very clear that you're one of them. And then there's, ones who just want those clicks. And one of my big problems, not just the headlines that came out, was people sharing it too. I think sharing it and reposting it and saying, look at this, this is gross. You're giving them what they want, right? There is a way to talk about your anger and your frustration without giving them even more of a platform. For me, instead of posting anything, I tried to direct attention to the really wonderful piece that James Myrtle did about the situation. James Myrtle was in the building. He said that it was probably the worst. He's been in the building for, a lot of, unfortunately, bad injuries in hockey. And he said, I've never sat in my car for half an hour after not able to drive home yet because I feel sick. And he wrote about John Tavares, the human being, and what he means to the Toronto Maple Leafs and what he means to the community and his rise here and how just important he's been. And I think that was the right way to handle it. And so for me, instead of reposting the photos of those headlines and saying, look at this, this is horrible, I said, I'm not reposting that. Why don't you guys read this? Because this is how it should be done. And I think Myrtle handled that in such a great way. Like if you teach a journalism class, Ian, like you could hold both up to your students, with a trigger warning for the other headlines and say, this, let's just call it what it is. It's gross. It's gross. And here is it being handled properly. And I think it's a really good lesson to teach young journalists. But at the end of the day, people in media get to decide how they want to do the job, right? And if you have to choose, and then you live and die by that. And I'm just glad that we both choose to hold ourselves in a different kind of way in this game.